この事件は2004年、豊明市沓掛町の住宅で、加藤俊夫さん、長男の裕樹さん、長女の里奈さん、次男の翔吾くんの家族4人が何者かに刃物で殺害され、自宅が放火されたものです。
You know how sometimes a true crime story sticks in your mind, nagging at you because the pieces just don't fit together? Yeah, that's the feeling I get thinking about the Toyoake family murders. This case from 2004 involves the brutal slaying of a mom and her 3 kids in their home outside Nagoya, Japan. And get this, their house was then set on fire, like some twisted arsonist wanted to erase all traces of the crime. It's a complete nightmare that still haunts the community almost 2 decades later. Every detail seems designed to chill you to the bone. Ready for the spine-tingling play-by-play? Buckle up, because this is one disturbing ride into the darkest corners of human depravity. Let me paint the picture. It's the evening of September 8th, 2004, and the Kato family is just going about their normal routines in their 2-story home in Toyoake near Nagoya. We've got Toshio Kato, 38 years old, the devoted mom who loved cooking for her kids. Yuki Kato, 15, the eldest son, a high school athlete. Rina Kato, 13, the trendy fashionista daughter who played volleyball. Shogo Kato, 9, the cute youngest son, a rambunctious 3rd grader. Oh, and there's the family dog too, a Shiba Inu named Jackie. You know, the kind of pup that would bark up a storm if anyone uninvited came knocking. So that night, the kids are hanging out, probably watching TV or doing homework while mom preps dinner. Dad Hiroto is away at his automotive job about an hour's drive north in Komaki City. Just a totally normal evening for this regular middle-class Japanese family. Until, well, you can probably guess what happened next. Because somehow, someway, evil found its way into their home that night. Let's jump ahead to around 4 a.m. Neighbors are jolted awake by a woman's blood-curdling scream piercing the quiet residential streets. But strangely, no barking from Jackie was heard. Minutes later, the Kato house is on fire, flames licking up into the night sky. Firefighters race over, but it's too late. The structure is already engulfed. When they finally extinguish the blaze in the early morning hours, they find a horrific scene inside. The bodies of Toshio, Yuki, Rina, and little Shogo have been viciously murdered. Mom and daughter suffered excruciating deaths, stabbed over and over with what looks like a survival knife. Rina took hit after hit to her upper body and face, even having ribs broken by the sheer brutal force. The boys met similarly grisly fates, both bludgeoned in the head, likely while they slept, by some sort of blunt object, like a crowbar. And here's the really eerie bit that makes my skin crawl. Each victim, other than 9-year-old Shogo, was covered neatly with a blanket after being killed, like some sort of twisted ritual by the perpetrator to put them to bed one last time. As grim as the murders themselves, firefighters also found signs the killer tried destroying evidence by using kerosene as an accelerant to burn the house down from the inside. Fortunately, they were able to detect the kerosene that shouldn't have been there. But strangely, no weapons used in the attack were ever recovered at the scene. No knife, no crowbar, nothing. And critically, no obvious points of forced entry or escape, despite Jackie the dog not sounding any alarms. It was like the killer materialized inside the home, slaughtered the family, tried burning away the evidence, and then vanished into the night without a trace. A grieving husband and dad, Hiroto, got a call at work that night about a fire at his house. So in a panic, he raced the hour drive home, only to find tragedy in the remaining ashen rubble of his family's lives. Was it just a robbery gone wrong? Not likely. At first, some thought maybe this was a robbery or burglary that went horribly sideways once the thieves encountered the family. But that theory really doesn't hold water when you look closer. For one, police accounted for all the family's money and valuables still being inside the torched home. Other than Toshio's wallet being empty, nothing was explicitly taken or ransacked from what they could tell. Plus, things like bringing a gas can full of kerosene and backup clothes to change into afterwards hints at a much more premeditated planning than a spontaneous panicked crime. Almost like the fire was intended as sort of a final grisly exclamation point by the killer. So if robbery wasn't the motive, what the hell was? Was it just some random act of unthinkable violence? Or did the Katos know their killer personally? Unable to find any clear outside perpetrator, police inevitably circled back hard to the lone surviving family member, Dad Hiroto. His ironclad alibi of being at work put him physically far away during the murders, but could have he orchestrated a hit on his wife and kids for some reason? Well, as it turns out, Hiroto had some major money troubles bubbling under the surface that started raising red flags. Turns out, the guy had been embezzling funds from his company for a couple of years leading up to the killings and got busted in early 2005. Apparently, Hiroto was blowing tons of cash living large, frequenting sleazy hostess clubs, having blatant affairs, that whole ugly midlife crisis scene. When authorities finally caught up with his white-collar antics, he copped to inflating product costs and funneling off the extra dough, stealing millions of yen over 3 years. So despite making good money at his automotive gig, Hiroto was critically overextended, living way beyond his means. Way beyond. Like spending 400,000 yen, around $3,500 per month, on just one of his mistresses is kind of excessive. He'd also talked about divorce with his wife in the past, and how she'd struggled to make ends meet as a single mom. With all those sordid money woes and emotional detachment from his family, did Hiroto take the ugliest way out and arrange to have them killed? Maybe with the hopes of cashing in on some big insurance payouts to escape his debt traps. The lack of evidence at the scene would line up with hiring a professional hitman, and some witnesses did report seeing a suspicious blue car and a man lurking around that night with license plates linked to the area Hiroto worked. But again, Hiroto's own co-workers steadfastly backed up his overnight shift alibi. He couldn't have made the hour-plus commute back to his home without anyone noticing, and still had no clear window to commit the murders. So while he had plenty of financial skeletons, nothing conclusive ever linked him directly to orchestrating the home attack. With the case dead-ending on Hiroto as the culprit, more outlandish fringe theories started emerging to fill that unsettling void of unanswered questions. Maybe the most persuasive one positions the Kato family murders as a hit job, just not orchestrated by the dad himself. You see, in the months leading up to that fateful September night, Toshio had confided to friends about feeling like her home was being watched and chased by some creepy lurkers. And sure enough, reports from neighbors backed up those hunches, with strange people and vehicles repeatedly scoping out the Kato's property. There was an unnerving incident back in 2003 when someone attempted to force open the front door late one evening while Toshio was out. She received a call from her son Shogo in a panic, warning him not to answer, as the brazen creep was still lurking and messing with the door. Were the Katos being stalked or surveilled for some reason by an obsessive weirdo with a twisted agenda? Maybe an unhinged acquaintance or coworker who finally snapped and lashed out in the sickest way imaginable. It would explain how the killer seemed to operate with such ease and premeditation while avoiding alarms. Or could Hiroto's illicit entanglements with mistresses and money laundering have drawn the attention of some shady underworld figures looking to shake him down? Perhaps they saw wiping out his entire family as the ultimate way to send a brutal message when he inevitably couldn't pay up. After all, the police did note how exceptionally professional and prepared the killings seemed to unfold. From smuggling in tools like knives and crowbars to dousing the home with ready supplies of kerosene, almost like a calculated hit rather than a random, unplanned cruelty. And then there are the increasingly nagging little details that simply don't add up. How did the killer enter and leave with absolute stealth? The dog never raised an alarm, and all access points were undisturbed. despite no family members witnessing anything amiss. Why did they neatly tuck the bodies in blankets post-mortem? A trademark calling card of guilt, according to criminal profilers, as if the killer had some personal connection to the victims. How did the police's luminol testing fail to detect any hint of blood splatter that definitely occurred during such a violent homicidal rampage? It's like the killer engaged in some sort of professional-grade body dissolving or crime scene scrubbing routine. And most critically, how could they engage in that level of calculated, remorseless savagery toward a mother and her children in the first place? Not even hardened killers tend to thoroughly dehumanize kids like that. The tantalizing and terrifying implication that this was potentially an expert hit, pulled off by a depraved professional sociopath without a shred of human empathy. Not some panicked criminal opportunist, but rather someone deliberately hired to inflict prolonged anguish on an entire innocent family. I don't know about you, but details like that opening the door to hired killer conspiracies make my bones itch in the worst way. Because that's the thing about this case that proves most unnerving. No scenario seems to fully make sense or dull that feeling of abject horror.